Tahina Paopao. She hacked Caitlin Clark. Her arm is like being grabbed by Tahina Paopao, and she does take it off.
And then when the refs don't call the bear hug.
One of the worst missed calls I think I've ever seen in basketball.
This is another year and another case of WNBA referees not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA is physical, and she just needs to get over it.
A newly surfaced video is making waves and drawing widespread attention.
Let's watch the play here.
Deciding to reset things.
As you can see, she dribbles over to the wing, pushes off a little bit, and hits that three. Now, if you slow things down and if you actually go frame by frame, you can see that Paopao had two hands on Caitlin. It wasn't just a one-hand hand check. She was kind of grabbing her with two hands.
Caitlin Clark was clearly being singled out by members of the Atlanta Dream, and with footage capturing both a double jersey tug and an obvious body check. It's shocking the referees didn't blow the whistle.
This is some of the worst refereeing I've ever seen to not call a defensive foul here. Like, this is not just a hand check. This is a double jersey grab.
WNBA referees that's making it so damn hard for them to make the right calls at the right moment.
Fans are outraged. But what's even more surprising is how the online chatter is blaming Caitlin Clark instead of addressing what actually went down.
She's going up against Paopao, and she does a step back three. She hits it, but the internet is going wild for this because they are complaining about her pushing off with her left arm.
If you think Caitlin Clark has rightfully earned her respect on the basketball court,
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
should be getting consistent officiating and fair treatment. Hit 100% in the comments to show your support. Let's break down the viral footage everyone's focused on.
On it back. Now watch this. Now this is it right here.
Let's closely examine this trending clip for all the valid reasons. In a preseason game against the Atlanta Dream, Caitlin Clark was guarding Tahina Paopao, and what my unfolded wasn't just tough defense, it was intentional physical targeting. As Clark made a move, the footage clearly shows Paopao grabbing her jersey with both hands.
Paopao is on her. Paopao grabs her hip. You can see here. So Caitlin's trying to blow by Tahina Paopao. Tahina Paopao is not a good enough defender to play flat like this. Two hands on Caitlin Clark's jersey. Then she goes around the hip. Caitlin shoots from so far back. Oh my God.
Paopao wasn't even in a solid defensive stance. She was off balance, flat-footed, and already beaten on the play. So she resorted to pulling at Clark's hip, clenching her jersey, and using both arms to restrain her. This was no soft foul. It was blatant. A savvy, stop-the-drive type foul she couldn't defend cleanly. Yet somehow, the refs said nothing.
It's not an offensive foul, and if it's an offensive foul, the offensive foul comes way after the defensive foul. Even if it wasn't for the hand, I don't think that that's enough of a push-off to call an offensive foul, especially when the defensive player is off balance.
And as Clark tried to shake free, she barely used her arm. And somehow, that small motion got her whistled for an offensive foul. Seriously.
This happens a lot. There's a lot of times that guards are working the defenders off of them, especially if a defender has a hand on their side, on their jersey, on their arm, anything. You are allowed to kind of swipe and get the defenders off of you.
Watching the slow motion replay, it's clear Clark had already passed Paopao before she even flicked her arm. She had the angle, was in stride, and headed straight to the rim when Paopao grabbed her. Yet the officials still called the foul on Caitlin. Unreal.
Caitlin is past Tahina Paopao here. Tahina Paopao is stopping her with her arms. Her arms like this on the jersey, stopping her. There is an arm extension. Because she's in such bad defensive position, is already, look at her where her feet is before the contact. She's throwing herself out of the play anyway.
Let's be honest. Did Caitlin Clark initiate some contact? Yes. But let's not act like top-tier guards don't use subtle contact to gain space. The issue is, when Clark does it, it becomes a controversy. Paopao's over-the-top reaction made it seem worse. That was flopping, not clean defense. And this wasn't an isolated incident. Clark was being held, bumped, and tugged all game long without drawing a single whistle.
Caitlin Clark's statue, in order for them to gain separation, they kind of stick that forearm out there because they're getting bear hugged. The other defensive player won't let them cut across to the lane.
It's tough to watch that footage and not feel like it went beyond regular physical play. This was deliberate targeting, and the officials ignored it. The proof is right there. Fans have been pointing it out for months, and now a wider audience is noticing. Caitlin Clark is being officiated differently. Let's call it what it is, bias. And what happened next made it worse. As soon as the clip of the Pow Pow incident spread online, social media erupted. And instead of holding Pow Pow accountable, people began attacking Clark.
Caitlin Clark, her arm is like being grabbed by Tina Pow Pow and she does take it off.
She's trying to gain separation to shoot a three.
But I've never, like, this is some of the worst refereeing I've ever seen to not call a defensive foul here. This is a vet move by Pow Pow. I have to say, this is a vet move by Pow Pow.
Exactly. Caitlin Clark became the main target of the backlash. Comment sections were full of claims that she always pushes off, exaggerates contact, or doesn't play fair. Are we even watching the same game? She was grabbed around the waist, lost her balance, and got blocked mid-drive. Yet, just because she used a slight arm movement to break free, she's now being painted as the villain. That's the narrative dominating online.
She's going up against Pow Pow and she does a step back three, she hits it, but the internet is going wild for this because they are complaining about her pushing off with her left arm.
Here's what stings the most. These are the same people who said last year that Caitlin needed to toughen up and handle the WNBA's physicality. But now that she's answering back, pushing through contact and using space like top-tier guards do, they're calling her dirty. Last season, she was getting knocked around and pushed off the ball, and the take was, she's too weak. Now she responds, and suddenly it's an issue.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger.
Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year. She shot a bunch of it, and it's been the whole preseason where it looks to me like on her deepest shots, she is just getting them off like they're nothing, like they're routine. Because nobody else is shooting from this distance regularly, and she's doing it with a look at her wrist. How easily it looks like she's shooting those threes and hitting those threes in the clip that she's doing it. You know, going to the rack, all these various things that show she's even stronger than she was a year ago. And you see it in the strong numbers. I mean, 13 points, 6 boards, 7 assists in 23 minutes of action.
This is one of the most blatant double standards we've seen. When other big-name players throw elbows, fight for space, or play aggressively, it's praised as toughness and heart. But when Caitlin does something similar, even a minor arm extension, it's treated like a problem. This isn't just about fouls, it's about shaping the story. Clark is the league's biggest draw. She brings fans, coverage, and excitement, and that makes her a target. If this happened to Sabrina Ionescu or Kelsey Plum, we'd be talking about a missed call, not tearing down the player. The truth is, Clark takes more contact than anyone and rarely gets the whistle. In her last 2 games, just 1 foul drawn despite constant hits. This is a trend, not a fluke.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT!
She signed my jersey! So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
There's clearly a reluctance to just let Caitlin Clark play her game without constant nitpicking, hard fouls, or the endless criticism. Stuff every elite player deals with, yet it's not headline material for them. So what does it all mean? It goes beyond Clark. It impacts the entire Indiana Fever team and reflects on how the league treats its top talent. This isn't about a single play. It's about a repeated issue, a pattern of targeting, and a league still trying to figure out how to support its brightest star. Let's be clear, Clark isn't just a promising rookie. She's the face of women's basketball right now.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
She's filling arenas, breaking broadcast records, and bringing national attention the WNBA hasn't seen in years. But that kind of spotlight comes with a price. For Caitlin Clark, it's meant intense physical defense, constant public scrutiny, and almost no protection from the referees. Just look at her game against the Atlanta Dream. Players were hanging all over her, fouls were ignored, and still, she kept her composure from start to finish.
The WNBA referees are terrible. The one-sided calls against Caitlin are so obvious and disgusting. They're ruining the game. If the referees do not get this whole situation together with this Caitlin Clark thing, fans is finna stop watching this sport.
She didn't lash out, didn't argue with refs. She just locked in and kept playing, hitting tough shots, including that ice-cold step-back three with a hand in her face. That's more than talent. It shows serious mental strength, and yet she rarely gets the recognition for it. But here's the worry. If this keeps happening, how long can one player carry a league, take all the hits, and face constant criticism without burning out? The WNBA wants Caitlin Clark front and center.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. She's so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger,
but isn't offering her the same respect, protection, or consistent officiating veteran stars enjoy. That's not how you grow the game. And what about the Indiana Fever? They're still building chemistry and finding rhythm. Clark is their clear leader, but even the strongest engine needs maintenance. Her preseason numbers say a lot. 14.5 points, 6 boards, 6 assists per game while shooting over 52% from the field and 50% from deep. That's not just potential, it's elite production. And it could be even better if she wasn't getting bumped all over without calls. Missed fouls slow her down, mess with her rhythm, and disrupt the team's momentum. Bigger picture, what message does this send to young athletes watching? Clark came in with generational skill and massive support.
She is highly likable. I think that lends itself to her popularity as she comes across as somebody that's really just respectful, likable. There's other players out there that just don't come across that way.
And if she's being shoved around and slammed just for doing her job, what are we telling future stars? That excellence means you'll be singled out. The league is at a turning point. Either protect the players driving the growth or risk losing them. Because right now, it looks like Caitlin Clark is being penalized for being outstanding, for being visible, and for not fitting a certain mold. And we can't ignore this. Race and bias absolutely factor in. It may be uncomfortable, but it has to be addressed. When black athletes play with aggression, they're praised for their power. When Clark plays the same way, she's labeled out of control. That contradiction needs to be confronted. The league must deal with it. Still, one thing's for sure. Caitlin Clark doesn't shrink from pressure.
A fan took this iPhone footage of the Indiana Fever doing a workout after that game against the Atlanta Dream. And it was Caitlin, it was Brianna Turner, Jaylen Brown, and Natasha Howard. They were working out in the hallway and just doing some simple lifting. And then also you can see here, Sophie Cunningham comes out of the locker room and she is wearing a boot.
She stays calm, adjusts when needed, and keeps shining. She fights through the chaos with determination, focus, and clutch confidence. Even while getting hit by defenders, critiqued by the media, and overlooked by referees, she stays dialed in. So, yes, the video clearly shows she was being singled out.
See that? Do the step back? She had to step back because she knew she didn't have any area here. See, this is the photo that went viral.
It also reveals something more. She keeps working, keeps producing, and keeps setting a higher standard. The proof is in the footage. Caitlin Clark isn't just taking on defenders, she's handling real targeting. And despite all that, she's still knocking down big shots, leading her squad, and staying locked in. That's not just impressive, that's elite-level play.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
But we can't end the conversation here. If you think Caitlin Clark deserves the same respect and fairness every top player gets, hit 100% in the comments right now. Let's flood the timeline and show that her impact matters. If you're new to the page, make sure to subscribe. We bring the facts, and we stand with athletes pushing the game forward. Smash that like if you're with Caitlin Clark, and we'll catch you next time.